Hey there everyone, Winter here. Thank you to all of you who have continued to send in your questions. As I said last week, I'm going to try and answer some of these questions that I didn't get to answer last week. So without further ado, let's go right to the first question.
This comes from Darren, who says, I feel stuck. I lost my job 4 years ago, a good paying job, and now I'm working on a part-time basis, but it's still not enough to cover my living expenses. I just want to make a life on my own terms. So Darren, I sympathize. We all feel stuck at times. The problem is usually the only person who can get us unstuck is ourselves. I'm wondering how and why you lost a good paying full-time job. It might be important to look at what happened there. Were you let go? Was it because some fault of your own? Did the company downsize? No, I'm not asking you to feel guilty or bad about having lost the job. I'm just asking you to use the experience as a history lesson so you can avoid the loss of a good job in the future and correct any mistakes that might be perpetuating your underemployment. Since working part-time does not give you enough money to pay your bills, I suggest you actively search for full-time work. Is there some reason why you cannot work full-time at present? If you have legitimate and sound reasons for working part-time, like disability, responsibilities to children or elders, inability to find full-time work in spite of diligent searching, etc., then you must find ways to make your part-time work pay more, or else you need to get a second part-time job. And this could add up to a full-time income. Yet, it could still give you the flexibility you need in your schedule. Lots of places need people to work the night and holiday shifts. Could you look for work like that to supplement your income? Being willing to work the less desirable hours and shifts can give you an edge over other job seekers. Since you are having a hard time covering your living costs, you need to take a good look at your budget if you have one, or make one if you don't. You need to plug up any leaks in your budget where money is leaking out. Because after all, a penny saved is a penny earned. Are there any expenses you can cut back on? Examine your outgoing money carefully and see if you can cut back on luxury. Even necessities sometimes can be economized on. Try shopping for food at a cheaper store, or only buy the store brand instead of the famous brands. Have you accumulated debt? Servicing debt, including the interest on it, is a real budget buster. So do your best to pay off any debts you have, even if you have to sell some things to free up money to do so. Debt can be a real trap. Getting rid of it will immediately increase your income. On the subject of debt, do you have a handful of credit cards? If so, it is probably very tempting to use them, even for everyday expenses. Yet, there's that interest again, sucking up your extra dollars. So cut up all, but one or two credit cards and keep them only for emergencies. Some people freeze their credit cards in a block of ice, so they have to go to a lot of trouble to get them out to use them. And better though, using a credit card in case of emergencies is to have a savings fund. Even if you can only save your change from purchases, just start doing that. Saving is a habit and a strength that builds over time. Look for ways to turn what you already have into more money. Clip coupons. You can sometimes save literally hundreds of dollars on services like dentistry by using coupons offered to new customers. Have a garage sale and sell everything you can spare or don't need. If you have extra room in your home or garage, consider renting out that space to a person you can trust or to someone who needs space for storage. What talents do you have? Are you utilizing them in your part-time job? And if not, how can you put your gifts to work? How can you monetize and maximize your talents? Are you good with animals? Could you walk dogs in the spare time you're not at your part-time job? Are you a good photographer? Could you start a small part-time business taking weddings, school, or other photos? Make a list of all your talents and interests. You may be able to find a more satisfying and better paying job by putting more of them to work. You will be happier and more productive if you are using your gifts. Plus, you will be honing and upgrading your skills, which will make you even more marketable as you gain recognition and make new business contacts. So best of luck to you. This next question comes from Sylvia, who asks, is there any good way to encourage others to look at problems as opportunities, to help them emerge from their comfort zone instead of living in a stagnant way of life? Sylvia, you can certainly encourage others to look at problems as opportunities. You can be a good influence on them and do your best to point out better ways of thinking and living to them. On the other hand, it is each person's responsibility to emerge from their own comfort zone and throw off the stagnation in their lives. The best you can do is be a coach and cheerleader for your less motivated friends. It is they who will have to actually move the ball down the court, though. There is a lot you can do. You can recognize that people who are stuck in stagnation need to change their mindsets. They do indeed have to see challenges and problems as opportunities, not insurmountable obstacles. They have to believe that they can change, that they can do better, and that they can make a difference in their own lives and in the lives of others. Making them gifts of inspirational tapes, videos, and books might be a good way to start them off to a new way of thinking. Relating stories to them may be another effective way to encourage them to ward off their stagnation. Many people can relate to, empathize with, and learn from success stories. It is especially amazing how many successful people had to overcome tremendous challenges in order to finally make it. In fact, some experts now believe that the grit factor is the true secret to success. Grit is perseverance or tenacity. It means sticking to something, even when it gets tough. The originator of the original idea of grit, Angela Duckworth, explained in a TED Talk that grit is a perseverance and passion for long-term goals. Gritty people keep going and they stay interested and motivated about what they want to achieve, even when they encounter significant failure, setbacks, obstacles, and plateaus. These are the people who succeed. Assuring your friends that stagnation is not a bad thing. It is merely a swamp from which to emerge with more grit than before. There are plenty of success stories of famous people on the internet. But better still, if you yourself have gotten victory over a major setback in life, by all means, talk about it to the people you hope to encourage. There are plenty of collections of famous failures on the internet as well, making the point that people like Thomas Edison failed many times before they succeeded. It took Thomas Edison 1,000 times to figure out how to make a light bulb before he was successful. Thus, he came up with the saying, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." He also refused to see his failures as a problem. Rather, he said that he learned 1,000 ways that didn't work to make a light bulb, and by process of elimination, he finally found a way that did. Abraham Lincoln is often cited as one who experienced serious setbacks, losing elections again and again until he finally won the one that really counted. J.C. Penney was a poor boy who had to buy all his own clothes by the time he was 8 years old, but he built a billion-dollar business out of that boyhood struggle. Walt Disney is another case in point. Escaping difficulties, he went to California with a couple $100 in his pocket and a head full of dreams of a mouse cartoon. The rest, as they say, is history. Encourage your stagnating friends to interact with others so that they can get new ideas, gain confidence, and hone their critical thinking skills. Encourage them to rub shoulders with successful people. Some chambers of commerce hold public luncheons and events. Even town meetings may be a source of inspiration and confidence. Going to job fairs where there are lectures on career success, who knows, it may also help. There are links to mastermind groups in your area too, I'm sure. But encourage these people. Encourage them to interact with people who are thinking, doing, creating, and achieving, and it may rub off on them. Be an encouraging, but not an enabling friend. You are right to want to encourage others to spur themselves on towards success rather than letting them accept other than their maximum fulfillment. You cannot do it for them, though. You can only help. You can only guide them. As you help others, you will find yourself growing in consciousness and confidence as well. Helping others towards success will ensure your own. Best of luck to you, Sylvia. Next, we move on to Jones, who sends in this. Hey, Winter, my name is Jones, and I'm 18 years old now. I already flunked 2 years in college, and I spent the last year working. I always aspired to be an engineer, but the chance of that happening is getting lower and lower. My only option is doing another 2 years in college, but I really feel hopeless about it right now. Should I just stick it through once again or give up and find some average job? Hey Jones, I'm sorry to hear of your difficulties in college. I can understand that you might be feeling discouraged. Have you talked over things with your parents or other family members? Since you are just 18 right now, you might benefit from the advice and understanding of older people and what they might have gone through to help you, or what limitations they face themselves, such as their ability to help with financing, room and board, etc. You are somewhat caught between a rock and a hard spot. If you go on in school, you will have to face up to whatever difficulties threw you off in the first 2 years ago. If you stop your education, You are correct that your job choices will be less than they would be with a college degree. So the best way to handle such big, life-changing decisions is to gather as much information and support as you can. There are academic counselors available at most colleges who can help you find out what went wrong over the last few years of college and how to correct that. Some people have completely turned their college careers around for the better by seeking the counsel of academic advisors and are now such advisors themselves. They understand both sides of the picture, factors that hold people back from success, and how to overcome and achieve and work through those factors. Some academic advisors or students themselves or graduate students have learned excellent study habits and can teach you how to improve your college experience. But in any case, finding an academic mentor could make the difference between success at college and failure. Making friends with a successful fellow student or group of students could be helpful for you, as could asking someone to tutor you. If you decide to get a job, it's not the end of the world, but it could be changing and challenging in its own way. These days, it is not always easy, even for college students, to find jobs right away. But some people do find decent jobs, even with an associate's 2-year degree, and they begin to work their way up in their career ladder. Because experience is not to be devalued in any way. With some practical experience under your belt, you might find your studies make more sense because now you have hands-on practical experience to apply those theories to. You might find that working for a while gives you the impetus to save up and go for your college degree with more outer and inner resources. Engineering, well, it's not an easy field, but it is satisfying, and of course it is a well-paid one. Would you rather consider getting an internship or apprenticeship at an engineering company? Such internships sometimes lead to full-time employment. They also give you a great resume boost. Some internships and apprenticeships are even paid. This would be the best, of course, of both worlds for you. You could be paid while you are learning your field. Then at some point, you could return to school. Some apprenticeships even encourage people to go to school as well as work and will allow time for that. In so many instances in life, knowledge is power. Decision-making is one of those instances. The more knowledge you have about each of your options, the better of a decision you will make. So research your chosen field and see if there are ways to combine experience and education that will work for you. Experience your chosen field in an internship to make sure it is really what you want to do, though. Examine why you had so much trouble in school over the last few years. Is it possible you have chosen the wrong major and you had so much difficulty because of lack of interest in the subject? Or the fact that the subject isn't really in your mental wheelhouse? Did you have bad study habits? Researching the general job market will also give you the knowledge to make a good decision. So what kind of positions are available to people in your area with your level of education? Do those sound like jobs where there is a chance for an achievement? Do you have any interest in them? What is the ratio in your area of job applicants to job openings? What is the competition like? Once you understand how these things work and the whys of things through seeking knowledge, you will be much better prepared to make a sound decision. So empowering yourself with understanding, and you will be able to defeat the doldrums you are currently in. Best of luck to you. Next, we have Justin, who says this. Winter, I'm thinking of doing my own business from home, but I'm hearing that it would be difficult to be clear about boundaries between personal time and corporate time because they take place all at home. So what are your thoughts on it? Justin, many people now work virtually and remotely, and this allows for greater flexibility for everyone. It is also enjoyable to run your own business and, of course, to be your own boss. But please be advised, though, that being your own boss is a lot of work. You're not only the CEO of your business, you're the accountant, worker, supplier, janitor, all at once. So don't assume that you'll be able to sit by the pool while your business just runs itself, because it won't. It will require your time and devotion. I hope you have done the necessary market research to determine a feasible home business that you could carry out at a profit. Because if not, that would be a good start. First, do research. The internet, of course, is an excellent place to research home-based businesses. If you know anyone who operates a business out of his or her home, so much the better. Watching the show Shark Tank, which is usually about home-based entrepreneurs and the expert opinions of potential investors. You are absolutely right that boundaries can become blurred when one is working from home. You will have to exercise your own self-discipline because there won't be anyone looking over your shoulder to see if you're working on your business or surfing the internet for pleasure as there would be in a brick and mortar business. You mentioned setting up time boundaries, and I'll go into that, but part of setting boundaries is setting up your own workspace properly. Some people do work from the kitchen table, but it's usually more effective to set aside a room or a space, the garage or spare loft or bedroom, for your own home office. There, you'll need to have a desk, a computer, good lighting, all associated supplies and equipment, a handy phone, electrical outlets, etc., etc., etc. Once you have your workspace set up, you will find that both you and others tend to respect the time when you are in that space as work time. But it is tempting to think that because you are working at home, you will simultaneously be able to get the dishes done, fit in the grocery shopping, pick up the kids from school, let the power and electrical guy in to feed the meter, blah, 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 and be on hand to supervise the delivery of new furniture, right? You may find that others say things like, well, you're home all day anyway, so why can't you do this and that too? You may think that because you spend a lot of time with your kids as you work at home. Really, it does become difficult. So reality check. You may have to have someone else watch the kids at home while you are working out intricate business issues. And too many distractions, personally, they will negatively affect your ability to do business. Some recommend maintaining a strict 9-to-5 schedule. If you have to go pick up the kids after school, subtract that half an hour from your evening time, or go to your desk a half an hour early to make up for it. Depending on the nature of your business, you may have to put in some weekend time just to get it up and running. If you're selling products, you may not have the luxury of not checking your email on the weekends or in the evenings, because with that, prompt service is going to be needed. If you're more business services oriented, you will be able to work within these business day framework hours. But in any case, it is good to set the amount of hours you will work each single day. Make up for them if there are necessary interruptions, but remember, this is your business. You're going to have to make sacrifices at times to make it work. Others, they recommend, in addition to maintaining a strict hours of work schedule, that you show up at your desk in business or business casual attire, because this will give you an edge to your approach. You are at work. You are not allowed to wear your bathrobe. This will help you maintain focus during business hours. But beware of distractions. It is all too easy to take a coffee break in your living room and wind up watching a movie for an hour and a half. Self-discipline will need to be your watchword. Take your business seriously, and everyone else, including customers, will too. You will experience the commandment, rewards of diligence, respect, self-respect, freedom, and profits if you run a tight ship from your own home.
Now that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to send in those questions, guys. They might be featured in the next video. Until then, everyone out there, please take care, enjoy yourself, and be positive through life. This is Winter V signing off, wishing all of you health, wealth, and success in each and everything that you do. Thank you.